Welcome to the show, Robert.
Have you ever heard of the channeled scablands?
No.
I have, but I don't remember. Go ahead, refresh me.
Basically, they're a geological feature in Washington State, and they're of a great deal of interest in the early 20th century. You see, we've got river valleys that have got a V section. Glaciers, they leave a U-shaped valley. Which is a huge feature in Washington State, has rectangular shaped sections. And basically what they found, that it was formed when by a series of collapses of glacial dams at the end of the last glacial period. So it was a massive flood that caused it. And so with regards to Noah's flood, my question has always been, where are my global channeled scablands? Because, and the thing is, nobody's even attempted to answer this to me, and I'm left there going, every time I've brought it up, it's just been ignored.
Well, maybe the geographical, like the type of rock and the hardness, and maybe it's a unique type of rock that's exposed, that's more, when exposed to flooding water, you get those unique characteristics. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I mean, maybe that scenario isn't really found anywhere else. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a geologist. Sorry.
Yeah, we had hoped to have a geologist on the show. We do have one as a sort of like backup if there are many questions about geology that we're unable to deal with. But
fortunately, this subject doesn't require a whole lot of expertise. As I said, it's screamingly obvious. One of the things, geologically speaking, that they bring up as evidence of the flood, of course, is the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon was supposed to be some massive reservoir that broke through so that this huge volume of water goes rushing through the canyon and creates a salt in about 5 minutes. And the thing about that is that they can't show me where the reservoir is supposed to be. Where was all this body of water kept? Because, of course, if there's going to be that volume of water to cause that damage, there has to be some sort of reservoir that you can look at, and they can't show one. And the same thing. You have evidence of a dramatic flood. There's another one in the Black Sea where they can show that there were villages at one time, and then there was a rush where the entire area was inundated. That one area was inundated, and they can verify that. They can verify your flood. They can verify this flood. They can verify the Iraqi flood. They can verify various different floods, which are not concordant to the same time period. But as far as the Grand Canyon, we've got one. We have another large canyon in South America, and we have something similar in Asia. We have some big canyons, but we don't have any of the reservoirs. We don't have any of the indications of these massive amounts of water that were left sitting until some dam gave way, as all the water suddenly recedes to God only knows where, right? And then we have a lot of places where we can show that there were successions of not floods, but seaways, where we can tell that if you look at the cutaway, I don't know if you've ever studied geology at all, they'll show you how you can tell when the sea level rises and then when it recedes, and in certain places in geology you can see that that's happened again and again and again, where you'll have sands and silts, and you'll have the heavier formations, and you can watch these. As you go up the column, you can see the sea level rose and fell several times in this sequence, in this area. I have been to an area where it was a Cretaceous beach, where a river cuts through all of these sedimentary layers until we get to this area where you see thousands of ammonites and other fossils gathered around. I wrote a paper on this, and I brought some of the ammonites home. I tried to find one, but apparently we've got them stored away in the garage right now. I wanted to show today. But I'm in an area where I can see that once you get down to this level in the strata, you can tell this was a beach. There are thousands of ammonites dead here. And you've got other layers, and there's fossils in every one of these layers. We got microfossils. My son and I picked out microfossils from all of these recessions and inundations again. And you can see where the sea comes in, it goes out, layer after layer after this one point. And so there isn't anything that lines up with this whole flood idea at all, anywhere in geology. I don't care what Kurt Wise says. The reason that he gave up a career in mainstream geology is the same reason that Andrew Snelling gave up his. They prefer to promote a storybook because of some misunderstanding of reality, and they're going to embrace that, and they don't care what the facts actually are. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Let's go.
No, you're fine. Geologically, there's another issue too, and that's, ice cores are extremely accurate. Minor year-to-year fluctuation via ice core samples up to 400,000 years ago. And you expect me to believe that 4,000 years ago, there was a global flood that killed virtually everything on the planet, except for 2 of each kind. And there's just not even a little blip, not even a slight irregularity in the ice cores or in the fossil record or in the geological column. That this massive, one of the most catastrophic events in the history of the Earth happened so recently ago. And there's not even a whisper of a fart of it ever being there in these extremely accurate measurements. I mean, it defies common sense. So.
Johnny, you're showing your ignorance to a degree because the Bible clearly states that it was not 2 of the kind. It was 2 of the other animals, and it was actually either 7 or 14. It depends on your interpretation of clean animals.
It was also 2. So it was 2, 7, and 14, and 7 as well.
Oh, so they had 2 whales on the boat.
If you count whales as breathing through their nostrils, because that was the condition that was placed on Noah to take.
Which they do.
Breathed life through its nostrils. So
they do.
If you think they do, he had to take whales onto the ark. Robert, I'm not sure that that's answered your question. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, not really. Sure. I mean, even if you do grant them that this particular feature, was caused by the Noah's flood, you don't see any proxies to it or anything similar to it anywhere else where there hasn't been a glacial outpouring or the Black Sea opening or Gibraltar opening. You just don't see it anywhere. And obviously there are all the other questions with where's the water come from, where's the water go. I think for somebody to hold this position in the 21st century is sort of mad. It's insane. When you've got all this information around you so easily accessible.
Can I just comment on that, Robert? I agree with you entirely. I think it is totally insane. But somebody just messaged me, and I asked them whether they wanted to come onto the programme, and they said, no, I think the point is absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that you're having a whole programme about it. And I think that's a valid point. But the fact is, in the promotional video I posted, I quoted from a Pothole of 54 video, in which he cited a survey that had been done about 4 years ago, and it claimed that 64% of Americans actually believe that this happened. So, yes, it is trite, it is madness, but 64% of Americans believe it to be true.
I have another very important point to bring up, which is that less than, just a few hundred yards from my house, there is a creek where they are currently excavating an enormous mosasaur. Now, we'll argue about whether or not the mosasaurs were supposed to be on the ark, and if they weren't on the ark, why are they dead? Later. For the point right now, I mean, we're talking about a giant marine reptile that was discovered by a local Texan who recognized that he was looking at the bones of a large animal being excavated as the creek cuts through the sediments, but he did not believe that dinosaurs existed. The guy who discovered it believed that the world was 6,000 years old. He has discovered this ancient thing from 70 million years ago or so, and they've spent the last 3 years excavating. It's the biggest mosasaur they've ever found in Texas. It's a few hundred yards that way. And the guy who found it believed that there was a flood, and he could neither account for why the thing wasn't on the ark or where the hell it was. He never gave it any thought. But he is one of the common men that you can find anywhere on the street that I live in. I would say that almost every house, except maybe 2 besides my own, believe that the entire world was under a global flood, if you're talking about this neighborhood. Now, if you're from England, yeah, I'm sure that this is completely ridiculous. Come to Texas. See how ridiculous you think it is then. Well, especially when the Board of Education wants to teach this to your kids.